For being there as we hit the road on the ban on public preaching, loud preaching in public places by the governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo. And that controversial decision is really sending shockwaves to people in Anambra State and, of course, beyond Anambra State. And questions being asked is this the right step or a necessary step in bringing sanity to public places, and what is the governor really at? And looking at the fine it comes with, that anyone that flouts this will be made to pay 500,000 naira. And so the preachers who go about in the marketplaces holding megaphones and preaching, once they are caught, they will be made to face the music in that regard. As he said that a law is already in place, but some lawyers are saying otherwise, because they said they are yet to identify that law and when it was made in Anambra State. Well, joining me this morning from the studio here, I have the former SSA to the governor of Edo State, strictly on legal matters, a constitutional lawyer, Notary Public of Nigeria, Adam Saliu. Big thanks for coming, Adam.
Thank you, moderator. Good day, viewers. Nice to be with you.
And also, Vazom, we go across to be joined by Bello Andrew, a legal practitioner and erudite policy analyst. Good morning, Andrew. Can you hear me? Okay. All right, so let's quickly hit the road as we look at the development in Anambra State. I don't know how you greet that, Adam Zaliu. You are a constitutional lawyer, and they say the ground norm, must also look into all of this. If there is nothing as regards such, provisions in the ground norm, then it can take effect. But what do you see of this development? Do you see this as the right step that is necessary in tackling noise pollution and public disturbances, as the governor has put it?
Well, I am guided by the democratic factors that the governor, the Soludo professor, is an elected, democratically elected indigenous of Anambra State. It's not from another state or is he a foreigner. And ipso facto, whatever he does will be bona fide, will be in good faith. He's sworn to uphold the Constitution of Nigeria, and by extension, his constituents. So let us have an open mind. Being guided by the Constitution, Fundamental Human Rights, Chapter 4, Section 38 to be specific, guarantees freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. Ipso facto, you are allowed to belong to any religion. You can change religion as much as you like, be atheist to Muslim to Christian, etc. That is enshrined in the Constitution, Chapter 4, Section 38. But in so doing, there is a proviso. If your freedom of religion, your own freedom ends somewhere, it now jeopardizes, it obstructs the well-being of another citizen. That is to say, when you are practicing your religion, using microphone, crusade, blocking the highway that people should not go to work, students should not go to school, it then turns to public nuisance. You have no authority to debar other citizens from enjoying their fundamental human rights. So I'm sure that they will come to terms and settle and enjoy their freedom, as it were, propagate religion, belong to any religion, but not to block the basic requirements of the position of the individual. That is where they have crossed with their governor. The governor is thinking that they are actually prejudicial, it's inimical, is blocking the fundamental human rights of the citizens there, to movement, to accessibility, disturbing the peace, etc.
Thank you. Well, you are a constitutional lawyer, but I know whatever we will be doing today will be from the grand norm. Because let's look at the quote, a quote from the 1999 Constitution, where it was emphasized that every individual has the right to freedom of thought, conscience,
38.
and religion. Yeah, 38 subsection 1 to 3. Yeah. We will read that part, but it says, including the right to propagate their faith publicly. Underline, propagate. And underline publicly. Yeah. We'll take a short break, after which we analyze that. To stay. Thank you for being there. While we had the break, we were opportune to be joined by another seasoned and erudite legal practitioner and a senior pastor of Faith Pillars Gospel Center here in Benin City. And he is Dr. Patrick Awosage. Big thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me, and good morning, folks.
All right, let's quickly get your thoughts. Andrew Bello, Vazom, I read that part of the Constitution just before the break, and I reiterate, where it emphasized that the individual has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, including the right to propagate their faith publicly. Underline propagate. How do you propagate publicly without the use of megaphones? He also went further. We look at the Supreme Court ruling in Lagos State government and the ORS v. Abdul Karim 2022, where the court reaffirmed the constitutional protection of religious expression, stating that every person is entitled to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, including the right to manifest and spread their faith through worship, teaching, and observance. So what are your thoughts on this, and how does it juxtapose or go offline with what the governor said in Anambra State?
Thank you very much. Let me quickly explain and add light to what you have just said concerning the propagate publicly. I think that's where we are having a bit of confusion. The truth is, there is no right guaranteed under the Constitution that does not have its limitations. There's no right. If you look at the proviso after the rights, I think section 41 or 42 there are even the court's interpretation of these rights. Where your rights stop is where my own begin. And that is what happens in every civilized society. To say otherwise is to make mockery of the rights themselves. If you say this man can propagate publicly without limit, it means that every person can propagate publicly, and it will be a mad society. There must be a limitation, there must be a restraint on how you propagate publicly. That is why the governor also gave the open door and said, go and propagate within your church, and do so, for heaven's sake, within your walls. Don't allow your noise to begin to disturb your neighbors. It is so in every civilized society. Your noise level must be kept within your own walls. Those who want to hear you, who believe that they should hear you, they will come and enter your church, or you visit them the way the Jehovah's Witness do it. Jehovah's Witness, they don't go about with megaphones, but they reach out to more persons anywhere in the world than any other faith. So you can propagate publicly. You can go to the man in his market store, in market shade, even in his house, and knock on the door and say, I came to give you the good news. Publicly, you are talking to him, or you are doing it in a private way that you are not disturbing the next door neighbor. Not for you to carry a megaphone and you'll be shouting. That one, you are not disturbing the next person. That is on the one hand. The governor is within his rights and within the legal provision. I'm sure anybody who challenge will meet the same interpretation in court. There are several authorities that say you can only use your rights to the extent of not disturbing your neighbor. The moment your rights begins to disturb your neighbor, begins to interfere with your neighbor's rights, your own rights must stop at that place, and that is what the governor has done. But looking at it, just opposing it against the kind of country we are inside now, if I thought we will be taking this topic in line with looking at what's happening in the northern states, where some northern states have said that because they are observing Ramadan, some persons in the states, because there's no state in Nigeria that is 100% Muslim. There's no state in Nigeria. I have visited most of the states in the north. They have Christians in all the states. They have other religions in all the states. So for you to not say because you are observing Ramadan, every person should stay at home. Both the Christians, the pagans, every other person who does not believe in your faith should stay at home for the period of Ramadan, is, to say the least, the most outrageous, the most obnoxious thing I have heard in my entire civilized life. But This is where we are in Nigeria. So when you are now just opposing what the governor Soludo is doing in Anambra State, you also consider what some governors who call themselves educated, whose children are abroad enjoying good life and not observing Ramadan at home. They go to school to observe the Ramadan. They now come here and force our people, those who are not even Muslims, to observe Ramadan in their home, that you must stay at home. You can't go to work, you can't go to school. It does not make sense at all. It is the most obnoxious something. I thought the federal government would stop it before it even came out. But unfortunately, nobody has said anything. 4 states are currently practicing it, and next year I believe strongly that it will get to the 19 northern states if nothing is done. And this is how the religious crisis starts over nothing. Your right stop where the next man's right begins. You have the right to, like my senior said just now. Section 38 is very clear. You can change your religion as you like. I can wake up this morning and say, I want to become a Muslim. I want to become, I don't want to even have religion anymore. It is my right. It's a personal right, a private right. But for me to now wake up and say the next man cannot observe his own religion near me, or that he cannot observe it in his own private house, as long as it does not disturb me, that is all the law provides for. He shouldn't come and use it to block my door, because what some pastors were doing, which one reason we praise what Soludo is doing is, so pastors went as far as putting megaphone on their walls, on their fence, so that the megaphone is not actually talking to their members. No, it's talking to the people on the street, the next door house, the house in the next door. There was a case where a judge of the court of appeal had to go and start using her own hand to remove the megaphone on the wall of the church, because the megaphone was facing her own wall directly. The megaphone was placed to face inside a compound. So that is nuisance in its highest level. So why you have a right to observe your faith, observe it within your own limits. Don't go
Thank you.
about using it to disturb the next man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. You still have the floor. There's this aspect I want you to also critique or look into, because they say what is good for the goose is good for the gander. And in as much as the governor is about tackling noise pollution, we have events, traditional events, that is in open fields, and also constitute noise pollution. We also have, political rallies, of which even the governor embarked on that in coming into office as the governor. Political rallies doesn't constitute noise pollution. So they say what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Why don't you generalize this and see how this can be tackled? Because even the same marketplaces that he spoke about, rallies also take place there. And usually, politicians are involved in such rallies, even in marketplaces with huge noise. I want to comment on that.
Yes, political rallies don't happen every day. They happen once in a while. And even then, they are also contained within a specified environment. Most times in the stadium or even in the marketplace, they create space for that purpose. And it happens once in a while. Unlike this preaching, the kind of preaching the government is targeting, which he has clearly stated, it happens every day in our marketplace. The woman at the market cannot sell anymore because the noise is too much. When she goes home, she cannot sleep because of the noise she has accumulated in her head. It's too much. What the government is tackling is the everyday rally. Meanwhile, the political rallies take place once in a while. Don't forget that apart from the political rallies, there are also other religious rallies that are not targeted at the moment. Those kind of religious rallies that take place once in a year, maybe towards the Christmas period, you see rallies, you see Christian programs, you see other religious programs that take place, other religious festivals. There are festivals in all the different communities that take place once in a year, maybe twice a year, once in a while. Nobody's targeting that one. But this everyday noise that you see, speakers everywhere in all the marketplace, is what the governor is targeting. You can't make people go mad because you want to preach your religion. You must preach it within limits. You can hold your rally once a year. It's done in every, I'm sure it's virtually every church have that once a year, twice a year program that they do. And nobody will target that one. But the one that every day you are carrying megaphone and disturbing people's ears is what the governor is targeting just now. So it's the same thing with political rallies. They don't happen every day. Once in a while, you must, everywhere in the world, once in a while, you must have a rally that disturbs.
Thank you, Barrister Andrew. Good enough, you made mention of the fact that at least you already agreed and concord that also generates noise. But you said it happens once in a while. We don't know if the Constitution has something to say in that regard. What's your thought, Dr. Patrick? You are a legal practitioner, and all of this has been said that, you know, there seems to be a target by the governor. Because, again, he said that his target, again, is to identify or to tackle or to get headlong with fake pastors and prophets. Again, some have responded within the clergy that how will the governor know one who is fake, or a pastor or a fake prophet? Isn't that in the sovereignty of God to judge?
Well, it's, I think the whole narrative is funny in the sense that I wouldn't expect the governor, you know, for the honor and respect and regard some of us have for him, someone who has studied so well and understand their native and local people, and because the way they go about their own communication when it borders on religious activities might be a little bit different from you that have gone through the ivory tower schools back and forth, and that in itself should be taken into cognizance. You are governor over the state, not owner of their lives. The Constitution is clear. We know what it states. Now, if you are coming to say that the people, I am not in support of noise, disturbance, back and forth, you know, rallies and all whatnot. I have right to go around, preach the gospel, talk about the Lord I know.
Without making noise?
I will make some reasonable noise. I have facilities that churches occupy. All I tell them, ensure you make reasonable noise.
Some reduced noise.
You know, when I mean reasonable, in the sense that you don't disturb other persons around. And some persons could say, well, you are disturbing us so long we hear you.
Exactly, because when you say reasonable, it's relative.
Yes,
some may say
relative.
what you see as reasonable is not reasonable.
That's what I'm saying. You know, there are petty people everywhere. They are, and I have also been spoken against in lights like that, where we preach the gospel. And we hear, they said, you're disturbing and all of that. But I'm surprised that they have all stopped all of that now. It was just a way to get at you. That's some petty talk. Back to the governor. Now, you are talking about people are disturbing, which I don't support. But you, at the same time, are not in position to know who is fake and real. You know, when you say the fake preachers, or well, who is a fake preacher? Because you have tied him to some kind of pattern, and then you say, well, he's fake. You are not, like you've established, it's not God. And moreover, you don't have the power to find out who, because we don't know who you are. You can't say I'm fake when I don't know you. You don't have the power. You're not, I'm not within the space of you to begin to decide what is fake or real. In my thoughts, it's really that I feel governance have become so watered down that we have lost the whole sense of what we should be doing. That shouldn't be the governor's agenda, if I'm saying, I mean the governor of a state. If there are things like that, there are people within the local government, within the space that could address that. That's how I see it. It shouldn't be the governor coming up just like what Donald Trump is doing, executive orders back and forth. Now, we'll now go to court on frivolities. I think that is not what it is. A sane person knows that you shouldn't disturb your neighbor. A sane person. Well, if that happens, there are ways to go about it. It's not about, well, you should stop preaching. Everybody is preaching in the marketplace, and that daily, like my brother was saying, Andrew, I don't agree with that. I should preach every day, but like I said, if it becomes, you can caution them, they have a body. There's a body called CAN, there's a body called PFN. There are other bodies, there are churches, maybe, okay, this church is a branch of XYZ church. Why not find a way to reach the head church and see how we could have a conversation, other than coming that you stop. You have no right to stop. I will not stop. That is for me. Because I remember John Knox back in the days preaching in Scotland, and the Queen, or the Scotland, the Queen was somewhat very opposed to Christian preaching, and she wanted to stop him. She couldn't, because at the time she now said she feared the prayer of John Knox more than 2,000 of her soldiers. Back again, you say you want to stop them. You can't stop the gospel. You can't stop the preaching, because it's not like you are fighting the gospel. That's how we interpret it.
Which is like Antichrist.
Yes, well, whether anti, I'm not going into that yet. I'm not looking at it. We have other, he just mentioned, and I was expecting him to go deeper, my brother Andrew. He just said something that really, really touched me. In the northern states, and then they are saying Ramadan, you sit back at home. Then me, because I'm preaching, I have not said do anything. Nobody is saying anything. And he said that's the country we are in. And you want to accept that? No. We need to revolt. We need to speak against it. We need to have a conversation. I was in Dubai some time ago, and they were having their Ramadan, and then what happened? And then they said, oh, sorry, please. That's a Muslim country, if you permit me. They allow me to have my meal and have a good time. But they say, please just ensure you do it away so that our people don't start staring at you while you are eating. I said, that's fine. So for you to tell me that I cannot exercise my liberty because you are doing what you call Ramadan, which I'm not against, I think that's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. So if we want to come like this, then if you cannot say anything, you are saying that that's the country we are in. That's a defeated statement. That's a way to say, well, let's accept in the way it is. No, I won't accept it. If I were to be in Anambra State today, I will start preaching. I will start organizing programs because I want the governor to arrest me. I want him to take me to court. I want the court to convict me and probably join me to Anambra Kanu in prison. I think that is the best way because the gospel is not to be, to be caged. You cannot stop the preaching. A lot have tried to stop it around the world, and then it didn't work. So I'm not speaking maybe because, oh, you are a pastor or some lawyer or whatever. We have known this for fact. It's always a way they come. Yes, I agree that these guys in the market, many of them are not schooled. There's a way they carry these things. We can call them and call them. They are our brothers. I won't deny them. We can caution them, call the leadership and say, oh, you guys should talk to your people. If you are not a Christian, maybe it's an antichrist or something, maybe you cannot call them. I believe he worships something. Whatever he's worshiping, he should call other association, the Association of Religious Body in Nigeria. Yes, outside can, for Christians, they are also the bigger umbrella where you have the Muslims, everybody come together. We say we are all preaching peace. We are preaching reformation and ensuring that people live well. So can is for those that are Christian. If you cannot talk, they can call those big organizations and say, what do we do? I went yesterday to Anegankai's and Hall Temple to see them over some matters we need to do legally. And I didn't have to undermine them. I have to respect them. I call them the honor that they deserve. So when you talk over there that these people, we stop them, who are you to stop? You're just a governor that have a few days to live there. And you can't stop. Even if you run for 8 years, I'm very sure you cannot stop the preaching. The preaching will still continue. If you go there now, I'm telling you, they will only arrest a few. They will get tired of arresting people. Do you have enough capacity to keep arresting? Then you will spend your time you would have used to develop your state. You look at other issues, kidnapping, sit at home. You have not been able to address it at home. Okay, why have you not stopped sit at home? You should sit in the government house and say, oh, nobody should sit at home on Monday again because I'm Governor Soludo and Professor Chukuma Soludo. I have said it from my office. Nobody. How dare you have the effrontery to say that? I think it's an affront on the gospel, and I think I don't have any more to say. Thank you.
Well spoken. But just like you said, a lot of reactions have been on Facebook and our various social media platforms. And one said, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The governor could have simply asked that the sound be reduced, perhaps suggesting that instead of using microphones, other means could be explored. And then before making such pronouncement, the governor should have consulted with Christian stakeholders. That's this correct. Is another Facebook user. He said he should have consulted with Christian stakeholders in the state or put in place mechanism to checkmate the activities of fake clerics instead of limiting Christian freedom. Another also said that it seems the governor has come to the end of the road in terms of tackling insecurity, just like he also put forward about the sit at home that happens on Monday, that the governor seems to be at his end weights in tackling insecurity. Now, let's look at these criticisms. Adams, what do you make of these criticisms? Don't you think there is some sense in it that the governor should have involved stakeholders and see how he can meddle with it amicably, most especially when the noise can be reduced, like what has been said by Patrick and, of course, Bello?
Very well, we are guided by the aphorism of ubi use, ibi remedy. Where there is a right, there is a remedy.
Okay.
That is even the motto of the Faculty of Law, Unibe. Ubi use, ibi remedy. So right is not absolute and indefinite. There is a remedy, there is a barrier, there is an end to it. And the governor talking or speculating of fake pastors.
And fake prophets.
He's quite correct.
Oh.
Because we know of some religions, if you think you want to be a priest, your training will span up to 15 years. You will be found not wanting in character learning, in spiritual behavior. If you fall along the line, you will be jettisoned, you will not be ordained. But all of a sudden, we see someone who has never been to a Bible school, no theology whatsoever. He's already a bishop. His wife is assistant bishop. If he dies, his son, wife takes over. So these are fake prophets. They are not really called. Although they were ascertained that they were called at night, and God told them in a dream, nobody can verify that. To the extent that in the street now, there could be up to 10 churches. And we see this pastor, bishop, archbishop, who do a birthday, buying cars, buying jets, living abundant life, whereas the masses, the populace, the Christians are suffering. So it should be reduced. It's only people that have...
That seems to resemble political leaders also.
Absolutely, that's where I was going to.
Can you draw a dichotomy between?
That politicians...
No, yes.
That politicians promise that they will serve the people. But when they get there, they now serve themselves.
Absolutely.
But we have a choice. After 4 years, you have your ballot paper. Whether renew
when there's a
their election or they fail. Yes. That's why many people don't get second term. So the governor, as I said, is a native of that state, Anambra. I assume he's acting in good faith. He is not there to punish his own people. After governorship era, he will still be an Anambra. So let us hope that what he does is for the good of the people, pro bono, publico. And therefore, if he errs, he should call people. 2 good heads are better than one. Let me call those before him, party leaders, Christian leaders, to come to a summit and arrange an acceptable solution.
Okay, you are a constitutional lawyer, and I want your reaction on the comment made by Andrew Bello when he said, well, for political rallies, they don't happen every time. I don't know if it's in the Constitution that as far as such events don't happen every time, even if they make noise or generate that, they can be allowed. I don't know if you can draw a unique distinction in
that. One he cited is correct. It's a force majeure. It comes once a while, ad hoc, and people can bear with it.
Does the Constitution spell that? Does the Constitution spell that out?
Constitution.
And quote the Constitution.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying now. Yeah. Constitution is not absolute. It cannot underline every word, dot every I.
So also.
And some things are understood. So if once in 4 years, a group of people come to solicit for vote, it's different from a modus vivendi, a way of life where you take bail and be ringing 365 days in a year in the name of propagating religion. It is that one that is disturbing. It's not ad hoc. So people should know what happens.
Again, are you not looking at the morality aspect and of course the transformation aspect? Because some who are criminals, even while hearing such gospel as been preached, you know, even in marketplaces, you may be surprised that a lot of persons must have turned new leaves and given their lives to become better citizens.
They will be convinced.
Which the governor has been finding a way to fix. Because even the sit-at-home, which has been instituted for Monday in the East, the governor seems not to be able to.
No, the sit-at-home syndrome has watered down.
Oh.
There's no more.
It has not stopped.
When people don't obey it any longer because their businesses are jeopardized. They don't make their income. So it's now 50-50.
You have the evidence of that.
Yes.
You may say that you may say that they still move within their areas, but not in major roads, or not having markets opened in major places. Because till now we still have that observation.
Nobody can prevent you from going to work.
The sit-at-home is still in.
They can't prevent you to go to work. The government is supporting you to go to work
and get killed when you're coming back.
Nobody will.
Even transport lines find it difficult to drive.
I was there. What?
On Monday.
I was there. I couldn't go
it's still
through.
in effect. So don't you think the government should have dissipated this energy on that?
Prohibit you from moving when the government.
Some have said that politicians or the political class seem to, weaponize the weakness of the citizens against them.
That's correct.
And some have also said that, well, for those who they see as could be having some detriment to their policies or to their ability to rule or govern, they make light the laws against such. But for the weak, they make hefty laws. So what do you have in that direction?
If you make school children not to go to work, workers not to go to work, market women not to go to market, is that not affecting the economy there? Come to think of it de facto, it's affecting the economy of that state. So now that it is optional, so to say, some people are allowed to go to work, the government is back here. I'm sure it will obliterate finally one day.
Okay.
Nobody should be disapproved from doing his or her normal business.
I don't know if we still have you, Vazom, Barrister Andrew, please. We need your comment on the aspect.
Yes.
Thank you. We need your comment on the aspect of criticisms coming back to back, saying that the governor of the state seemed to have, missed it, and he seemed to have gotten to the end of the road, end with where he's not able to tackle insecurity. Some say that instead of tackling aspects of preachers that are of no criminal, they don't have any criminal tendencies and doesn't even, perpetuate evil or crime in marketplaces. Why don't he look at the aspect of the sit-at-home, which is still in effect in the eastern areas? And of course, being the governor of Anambra State, some have said he should have focused on tackling insecurity. That would have made more points and more value as compared to what he's doing just now.
Okay, thank you very much. See, we are very sentimental people in this part. That's one of the reasons politicians play on our intelligence. They know that we are very sentimental. Once they throw one nitty-witty religious issue on the ground, we leave the real issues and we're going to drag that issue. The truth is, there is no way you are going to put it. My dear friend, Mr. Awosagi, is a pastor, and I'm not surprised he's speaking the way he's speaking. Pastors believe that they can do and undo. Religious leaders, not just pastors, they believe that they can do and undo. So they want to do and undo at all times. The truth is, every person's right is limited. No right is absolute. Let us get that one clear. What the governor has done, he has done the right thing. Let us also get it very clear. It's just because we're in a society where laws hardly work and they don't work. That's why we even have people in the marketplace in the first place preaching. They have no business being there.
Okay, Andrew. Okay, Vice Andrew, please let me quickly cut in. Is it wrong for the governor to have involved stakeholders into the meeting? Like we have CAN, the Christian Association of Nigeria, the PFN, Coastal Fellowship of Nigeria, into a meeting and find a way to, ameliorate the plights. Because he's saying that he's speaking for the traders who embark on their daily activities and these noises seem to disturb them. What stops him from having a stakeholders meeting? Is it wrong to do that?
Which plight is he ameliorating? When you call a stakeholders meeting, the people you are trying to ameliorate their plight must have rights. These pastors that are in the marketplace, they don't have right to be there. That is the issue. It's not when you have the right.
They do have right to be there. It's
when you have the right to be in a place that you can talk about, ameliorate, let's find a way to reach out to both sides because both sides have the right. In this case, the marketplace is not a church. Every person has a church.
You preach everywhere.
Do your preaching in your church. There, if you want to, hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead, we can hear you. Go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
So if you want
Andrew.
to preach, if you want to do evangelism outside your church, you go one-on-one. My church does one-on-one evangelism every day. We go out, we visit you in your shop,
For
we
Jehovah's
sit down
Witness.
with you, and we talk with you. We don't disturb your neighbor.
Okay, I understand.
The same thing the Jehovah's Witnesses do. They don't go about disturbing their neighbors. I worship in the church where we have the money to buy all the speakers in the world if we want to. But if you pass by my church venue, the walls of my church, you won't hear what the pastor is preaching because they have learned it over the years that we are not preaching to the people outside. We are preaching to the church when we're inside church. It's when we want to preach to those people outside. We go to meet them in their home. We meet them one-on-one. We don't disturb their sleep. Assuming the man in the next door house wants to sleep, his wife just gave birth to a baby. They want to sleep. They want to rest. Then you put your microphone outside and you disturb him because you have right. Which right do you have? Please, your right to preach, it means go and meet them one-on-one, knock their door and talk to them. Very well, nobody will stop that one. That one will never stop till Jesus comes. But for you to now put one megaphone outside, I used to do that when I was still naive about things, put megaphone and begin to disturb. I learned better. When I started practice in 2009, my boss wrote to a church. My boss is a Muslim. He wrote to a church opposite us and told them to stop the noise. I was thinking that he was trying to victimize the church because he's a Muslim. But as I went to, I discovered that it's not true. People want to, because when I now later had a neighbor in my own house that there's a Muslim, I had their speaker out there. By 5 a.m. in the morning, you would hear that noise. The thing was very, very bad. It was disturbing heavily. I had to go and meet him one-on-one. Initially, I wrote to the street meeting. They asked me I should meet him one-on-one. So I met him, and he put down the thing. We move it from there so that people can sleep. We are not all Muslims. Don't put your speaker there to disturb my sleep. The same thing, I couldn't put my own there to disturb the Muslim man's sleep. Let everybody enjoy his right. So on the issue of political rally you keep talking about, like my latest news has said, check section 40 of the Constitution is very clear. Every person has the right to assemble freely, have a rally. But don't use it to disturb the other person. You can assemble freely, have your rallies. Don't make it a disturbance to the other person.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Mr. Andrew, in just 1 minute, I want your reaction on this because some have said it. We are having a lot of respondents, following us in this conversation. Some have said that it seems it's making that law to have its way against the weak. What about the sit-at-home Monday? What is it doing about it? Because he said that those who flout this will be made to pay a fine of 500,000 naira. What about those who, the unknown gunmen?
Thank you very much. See, in every home, there are problems you cannot solve. There are those you can solve. You solve the ones you can solve, and if the one
that is weak, you can lampoon.
In this case, no single governor in the Southeast can solve that problem. That's a general Southeast problem. That I dare say that it's a federal problem that ordinarily, if we're in a country where the government is responsible to its people, the government at the center, the federal government, since it's a problem that cuts across state borders, the federal government ought to have taken care of that problem long ago. But because we have a government that is not responsible to its people, that prefer to go and prefer to send a condolence message, that to visit the scene of crime, then that is why we are having what we are having now. The responsible country, what's happening in the Southeast, it's a federal problem, not the kind of problem which we will talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Barrister Andrew. Big thanks for taking our time to be part of this, and I wish you a beautiful day ahead of you.
Pleasure.
Well, what's your reaction to all he said, Dr. Patrick?
Well, it's rather unfortunate that things turn out this way most of the time. Like we always say, you just ask questions, and he is saying, obviously, it's a national issue, insecurity, back and forth. What have you done? You just ask the simple question.
The governor can only solve what they can solve.
Is that not laughable? Is that not ridiculous? Does it really comport to any other? In my words, I don't have to join issues with Andrew. The truth is this. We know the truth, Probably we try to, not because I'm pastor or whatever. No, I'm not operating that way. Now, back in the days in Lagos, now I would have, I don't know where he did his youth service, probably in the north. In the morning, what wakes you up in the morning? You hear the loudspeakers waking you up in the morning. And if you have grown in the Lagos parts where you have this heavy noise pollution, what have the government of the day done? You see, Christians, in the real sense of it, they will always coordinate. If I know, yes, there are some that will say, we won't do this one. There are ways. They are leadership of the church. There are people you can call upon and say, look at this. If you have done that, you know, and they did not listen to you, then you cannot take your action. It's just like you want to call a dog a bad so that you can hang it. That's what it's looking like because you don't like these guys. You talked about the killer headsmen. How many have been brought to book? You talk about the, what am I saying? Sorry, talking of the unknown gunmen.
Yeah.
We're talking about the sit at home. I even saw a convoy waiting with us. We had to sleep the express road overnight because some elements have said, sit at home. That's not a big issue for us. What has he done as a governor to team up with his other states that are involved with this? What do we do? What's the way forward? Do we allow, does it not suggest that you're only ruling or leading or being governor for a while and some other persons really call the shots? If somebody is incarcerated now and he has instructed his people to sit at home and they are still obeying him for years, don't you think it's got some strengths and control over the people? It doesn't have to be making noise or making noise. We know where the power lies. Let's be honest with ourselves. Now, coming to the church again, I am not in support of disturb. I don't disturb people. We don't believe in the idea of using your message or megaphone to disturb people around you. That's not what we're talking about. But that's a way to come. It's a strategy to get in. That's what I'm saying. And it's not even Soludo that is orchestrating this. He's just being used. The Soludo I know, I've known him back in the days. He's just that kind of person. You know, he's being used, he's being manipulated to get this done. But the truth is that it's still going to fail. It's not an issue of being a religious person trying to play the card of church and whatever. That's not what it is. What is not right is not right. If you say these guys are disturbing in the marketplace and now he's saying you don't have to preach every day. Who say that? We preach everywhere and every day. Yes, I have been preached to and I preach to people. I don't have to disturb you. Oh, my brother, I want to share something with you. Yes. Even in the courtroom, we preach.
Okay.
We preach everywhere.
Okay.
So you don't have to limit me to say, okay, you only talk to people within your church. That's not correct.
Okay.
That's not how the gospel is being preached.
Let's get your reaction, Adam Zaleyo. The former SSA to the governor strictly on legal matters. And of course, a notary republic of Nigeria. And of course, a constitutional lawyer. Let's look at what the other barrister said, Andrew Bello. Now, it seems to everyone's mind that the laws are only made for the weak to obey and not for the strong. And this has caused a lot of issues in Nigeria because some seem to understand the fact that some are above the law while others are under the law. The weak are being suppressed by the law, but the strong are allowed to go off the hook.
No,
Is that justice?
It is a wrong assumption.
Yeah, looking at the seat at home, Monday, is that justice?
Is the common denominator.
Okay, but I want you to juxtapose the sit at home on Monday that the governor still is unable to tackle. There's no, fine given to those who make the rules outside government policies.
Yeah,
But laws are made against the weak. Is that justice?
Yeah, if he were to punish people who disturb others from going to work on Monday, going to school, the same people will cry out. So that is why, as I have observed, it has mellowed down. Some people go to their shops now Monday on heater.
That's correct, sir.
And there is a provision for it. You cannot stop anyone from undertaking his life.
Okay, you mean offices open on Monday?
Yes.
In the East? Government offices, you mean?
People go to work
on Monday.
But public holidays are not declared. If they do it now, it's subterraneously, and it will fizzle out with time. The law is there. It's still the last hope of the common man. We have seen governors who have whose decision has been overturned in the court.
Of course.
We have seen governors who have
So
been
many.
sent to prison.
So
So to say the law is for the elites and the poor ones are to be punished with the law, it is no respecter of persons. Let's come to equity with clean hands and have open mind The governor is a part of the citizens of Anambra State. He is deaf, he knows that he is not there ad infinitum. The law could catch up with him. So let people be open, and those whose rights to preach now elongates to disturb others to become nuisance. They should call it tarry a while and know that where your right stops, that is where the other individual rights begins. No prohibition, no provision in the Constitution section 38, which talks of freedom of movement and religion, up to section 40, up to section 41. It do not say forever you would be doing everything at your own convenience to the detriment of the other. The court is independent according to that judiciary, according to Montesquieu, 3 arms of government. They are supposed to be interdependent. We should come to them with equity, open mind, and allow each one to work. The government, the executive, the masses put him there. The masses can call it, remove him if they have 2/3 of the legislators in Anambra.
Well, thank you, Adams Aliyu, our constitutional lawyer. But I would say that you may be wrong if you say that offices are opened on Monday in the East. Because even transport lines...
Not in total.
Okay. So which means those shops within the streets can be opened. All right. But not government offices.
It's not a public holiday.
That's exactly
the banks, do the bank open?
That's exactly the challenge.
Do you transact in the bank?
That's exactly the challenge. Because if we still have till date, even transport lines plying that route, they don't do that on Monday.
They do it in secrets.
So does it not give an impression that the laws are made against the weak and not for the strong?
People go to bank, people go to markets secretly, and I say no.
No. I'm asking you, is that justice? You are a constitutional lawyer.
Yeah,
is that justice?
It is because there is no general overview.
There's a saying that what is good for the goose
is good for the gander.
Good for the gander. Okay. Now, how do we solve this problem? Because most times we've always had issues in governance where, the government functionaries or the government seems unable to unravel the misery behind some persons who are seen to be untouchable. How can government come into this regard?
Before I come to that, we said they are disturbing the markets. Have the market women come out to complain? We didn't hear of the complaints of those people.
It's possible they must have complained.
If there are complaints, I think it should be put out also. Now, coming to what you just said.
And again, don't forget the fact that noise pollution can, affect one's eardrum.
I agree
because
with you.
Like what Barrister Andrew said,
yes,
doing it repeatedly every day could deform one's eardrum.
I do agree perfectly. I do agree. I'm not in support of noise pollution, like I did said.
Okay. To become nuisance.
To become nuisance. I'm not in support of that.
So there's need to at least regulate it.
Regulation is not outrightly putting them out to say stop. That's not regulation. That's not how to regulate. When you regulate, you say, okay, come on. That's why I said you call the association, call them. Okay. You guys should do this. This should be trickled down through minimum ways you could communicate. Not to say stop. You don't have that right to tell me to stop. That's where I'm saying it's not possible. Right. Back to you.
Okay.
What do we do? Until we start telling ourselves the truth, right? Now, the truth is this. They know those guys perpetuating it. The governor will not say, I don't know them. Who got the will to do the needful? Because the consequence will be much. It's just like what we have with the American. You saw the way Donald Trump, sorry to bring this in, and Zelensky, the way they were talking him down, to asking him, are you gambling with Third World War?
It was a trial.
No.
In the Oval Office. Yes.
You saw that?
The trial that took place in the Oval Office.
In the Oval Office. Now, looking back, will he do that to Vladimir Putin? He won't dare. That's what we're talking about.
So it's a global trend.
So you look at it. So they know themselves, because I think in international relations, they said balance of terror is that we all have all this. That's when we will. You just talked about the law is made against the weak. Now, if the church were to be a militant group now, they won't dare. Because the bigger militants in the bush who will come out for them to protect them.
Right.
So what we're trying to...
Gunmen.
Oh, no, that's why you see, you have him, is it their unknown gunmen?
You can never know them.
unknown gunmen,
Well,
because you know if
well,
you dare
you don't know where they are.
with respect, sir, 1 minute.
Okay, you have 30 seconds.
You know, if you said the unknown gunmen, because of the unknown gunmen, that's why the governor cannot outrightly stop the guys from doing what they are doing.
Thank you, Dr. Patrick.
Government can never be known.
in 30 seconds, your final remarks.
My final remark is that the citizens and their leader, the governor, they should come to synergy and make sure that the safety and security of life is paramount in Anambra State.
Okay.
Well, it's unfortunate that it has turned out this way, but I will also encourage the leaders of the church to talk to themselves in Anambra State, to pull themselves back and ensure they don't disturb other people.
Yeah.
All right.
Because preaching of the gospel is not to disturb, it's to impact and influence people, not to cause trouble for health-wise and all it takes. I think that's my own
Thank you,
take.
Dr. Patrick Awo-Saige, a legal practitioner and a senior pastor of Faith Pillars Gospel Center. And big thanks also to you, Adams Aliyu, a constitutional lawyer, Notary Republic of Nigeria, and former SSA to the governor, strictly on legal matters. This way we'll call it a wrap. Big thanks also to Andrew, Barrister Andrew Bello, for being part of this. But the whole issue here is that the government should find a way to deploy viable objectives to make our laws effective, not only for a selected few. It should be for all who are seen as being governed in Nigeria. And that's the only way we can see legitimacy in governance. And that's the only way we can see, you know, people going about their duties, knowing full well that the government is there, you know, to look into their affairs. We look at the reason for which, you know, the state was formed, the theory of the state as put by Thomas Hobbes in the Obedience Pattern of Life, where he said, life becomes short, nasty, and brutish if there's no government. Take away the government from the equation, then life becomes short, nasty, and brutish. And it is important that we all obey the laws, in as much as it is a law, you know, concerning tackling noise pollution. It is upon every citizenry to make sure that that is obeyed. Big thanks for taking an attentive part of the discussion.